How do you know if you love someone? Well, last week we looked at the secret of lasting relationships. And today we are going to look at how you know if you love someone, because you can make some of the biggest decisions in your life based on your belief that you love someone. But there is a difference between love and infatuation, and the thing is, most people don't know the difference. And the questions we ask is, how do you really know if you are in love when you meet someone and these feelings start to come? And when you are dating and things starts to get serious, how do you really know? And when you get married and years go by, how do you know if you are still in love? So, see, love is a very tricky business, and falling in love is even trickier. The ancients talked about falling in love, and they compared it to going insane. One American author says falling in love is the taking over of the rational and the lucid mind by delusion and self-destruction, and you lose yourself, you have no power over yourself, and you can't even think straight. Does that sound familiar? Nietzsche even weighed in on what it means to fall in love, and his objective view of people that fall in love was that love is a state in which a man or woman sees things most widely different than how they really are. And then Les and Leslie Parrott, relationship experts, right as they counsel thousands of students, they say, indeed, steamy starts do not promote our best thinking. Intense emotions often block us from taking a careful and objective look at ourselves, the person that we are dating, and the relationship that we are forming together. So the next question we ask is, if we have this insatiable internal God-given drive to passionately find the right person, to connect with them at every level, spiritual, emotional, physical, and then we want it to last and be great forever, why is it that we fall in love, and when we do, we make the poorest decisions that produces some of the most dysfunctional relationships and pain within all of our life? So therefore, it is critical that you really need to understand if you are really in love. And to do that, we need to answer two questions, and that is what we're going to do, and we're going to take a little journey. So question number one that we are going to answer today is that you can never know if you are in love unless you define clearly what love is. You know, we use the words like, I love pizza, and I love soccer, and I love God, and I love you. I'm not sure about that, because that can't be all the same thing. That can't be the same love. So we've got to define what love really is. And then secondly, what we need to do is we've got to differentiate between love and infatuation. And we will define both of those. Why? Because if you are wrong, if you don't understand, and if you are confused, you are in for real pain in your life. So we are going to actually take a test to know whether you are in love or whether you're just infatuated, just obsessed with this person. And then in the last portion, which we are going to do next week, I'm going to talk about how married couples can nurture their love, but I'm also going to today even give some advice to married couples in how to nurture their love, and also to the singles and to those who are dating. So let us continue and look at the first question and answer it. What is love? See, we use one very general word in English, but there are about 4 words in Greek for love. And today we are going to deal with 3 of them. So the first type of love is eros love. If you think of eros, what do you think, what word is that derived from? Well, eros is the English word that comes out of the Greek word eros, which means erotic. So this is a need-based love. It is a physical attraction. This love is necessary for a marriage to succeed. However, marriage cannot be sustained by eros love alone. So God wants married couples to have erotic love, to be passionately for one another physically. So often we have not talked in Christian circles about sex the way that God views it, right? And because of that, we have all these hang-ups. But the wisest person to ever live, King Solomon, wrote the following in Proverbs chapter 5, verse 15 to 19, and I'm reading in the New Living Translation. He says, drink water from your own well. Share your love only with your wife. Why spill the water of your springs in the streets, having sex with just anyone? You should reserve it for yourselves. Never share it with strangers. Let your wife be a fountain of blessing for you. Rejoice in the wife of your youth. She is a loving deer, a graceful doe. Let her breast satisfy you always. May you always be captivated by her love. Now that word captivated is literally intoxicated. Yes, the Bible talks about love. The Bible talks about godly intimacy, about sex, how God views it. And we need to be accurate in our relationship according to God's view. And God talks about how to build these lasting relationships. So it is these wild, passionate feelings that God has given us that are only one component part of love that really matters. So it usually starts on the front end of our relationships. And unless it is nurtured in our marriage, pretty soon people think it is unimportant. But it is a critical part of loving and of a loving marriage. So the second love, but I just want to say, because Eros does not keep love alive. Therefore, we're going to look at the other two. If you're thinking about building a fire, Eros is kind of like the paper and the little twigs and a little gasoline, and it flames up quickly and it gets hot very quickly, but it doesn't keep you warm and it's not sustainable. And therefore, the second type of love is filial love. The Bible uses the word companionship several times to describe a marriage relationship. So this is companionship, this is friendship love. And filial love is mutual or sharing love of activities and home and hobbies and games and things in common and fellowship. Romans 12 describes authentic community, and authentic community has to do with filial or best friends type of love. So Eros love is your passionate lover's love with your spouse, and filial love means you become best friends. Romans 12 verse 9 to 13 says, love must be sincere. The New Living Translation, I like it. It says, don't just pretend to love others, really love them. But continuing in the NIV, it says, hate what is evil, cling to what is good, be devoted to one another in love, honor one another above yourself. In the New Living Translation, it says, love each other with genuine affection and take delight in honoring each other. Continuing in the NIV, in verse 11, it says, never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Think now of your marriage relationship, right? And it says, be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. It's talking about all these kinds of relationships where you're devoted, you're a loyal friend, you are caring, you are taking care of the needs of the other. It is grinding and living together, doing the bills together, but also taking a walk and playing a board game. This is walking around the mall when you don't want to. This is watching like soccer and thinking, no, I hate soccer games, but my husband is into it. This is taking some popcorn and, getting some popcorn and watching an old movie and cuddling up close together. It is becoming best friends. So love has an eros component. Love has a filial component, best friends. Love has an agape component. So this is the third part, agape love. And this is the self-giving, meeting the real needs without expecting anything in return. So this can be unilateral, one-sided, where the one loves even when the other doesn't respond as expected. It's a self-giving and meeting the real needs of the other person with the purpose of helping the other person become better, more mature, a godly individual. Agape love takes the initiative. It energizes the other two types of love. This is very important. And agape love is characterized in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 to 7. It says, love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always, I like this, it always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. It always perseveres. See, it is a choice. When people come and say, well, Pastor, I've fallen out of love. No, somewhere you chose not to love anymore. See, you cannot give supernatural love to another person unless you get it from God. And agape love is giving that other person what they need the most, where they deserve it the least, at great personal cost. And see, once again, it is a choice. It is a commitment. It's not a feeling. It's not an emotion, believe me. You know, it is understanding in a relationship. My wife needs filial love, friendship love. And I have all this stuff going on, but I have to stop and choose to meet that need. She needs to sit down and we need to have a conversation about our kids, or we need to just go for a walk. It is a woman saying, you know, my husband needs some eros love, that physical attraction love, but I'm really tired. It has been a rough day. And the last thing I feel like is showing affection, less alone making love. And there's a little moment that happens in couples relationship where I don't have in and of me what I need to give the other person. And honestly, the way they treated me lately, I don't want to give it to them, but I want to honor and love God, and I want to choose to love my spouse. And as I choose, I ask God, will you give me the power to agape, love my husband or my wife? And that is what produces this amazing relationship. But you've got to understand what love is, the three types of love. And a relationship that really works need all three. So the second question now that we need to ask and answer, what is the difference then between love and infatuation? Well, we've said that love biblically is three different things: the phileo, the eros, the agape love. But the fundamental aspect of love is that it is a commitment, it is a choice. I want to go back to 1 John 3:16, where Jesus has laid down his life for us. And this is his definition of love. His definition of love is not a feeling. His definition of love is not an emotion. His definition of love is an action in where you lay down your life. Because in the same verse it says, now you also need to lay down your life for one another. So when we look at infatuation now, infatuation is that strong, passionate feeling that comes through chemistry. Now, Dr. Michael Leibovitz from the New York State of Psychiatric Institute, have done a research that shows when passionate attraction occurs, a chemical substance, which I cannot pronounce, but they call it a love drug, is released literally within your brain, causing feelings of elation, in other words, ecstasy and joy, right? And excitement, along with a physical sensation such as lightheadedness, that tingly, and a sense of being short of breath. So what you need to understand is that when you are infatuated, when you are attracted, when those things start bubbling inside of your head and your body, this isn't just you having an illusion. It is real. It is chemical. It is physical. And it produces these amazing feelings. But it also produces a drop of 30 to 40 points in your IQ. And when you are infatuated, you get these new glasses. And this is where Nietzsche says, and you get these new glasses and you start perceiving things in life and people and priorities as far from reality that you will ever do in your life. Now there is a right time and a right way. And infatuation and those chemicals, that you can use them where they are a gift of God. But you just need to know when to use them and why and where. Otherwise, it's going to destroy your life, your relationships. So I've got 12 questions for you. And we are going to walk through these questions to find out whether you are truly in love, whether you truly love this person or you are just infatuated and it's just a bunch of chemicals that is actually working through your brain into your body, right? And you can, those of you who's got the notes, you can mark L at the love when it's love for you, or you can mark the I for infatuation. So when you are seriously dating someone right now, maybe you shouldn't do this in writing, and counting your fingers. Okay, this is love, oh, infatuation, oh, this is love, right? But for those who are married, I want you to think, how am I viewing our relationship? When I see the differences between love and infatuation, what is the application in our relationship? And is there some changes that I need to make? So are you ready for this? Good, let's do this. The test, the first test is the test of time. Now love grows and all growth requires time. But an infatuation, that may come suddenly, in the moment. Feelings just explode here without you even having to know the person. And you can just bump into a person at Bible study or at work or at a coffee shop. And that person looks really, really handsome, right? And all of a sudden this chemical starts because of their looks or because of the way they just give you attention, Then these chemicals start and you start to feel this lightheadedness and this great feelings flowing through your brain and your body. So this is a test of time. But love grows over time. So test number 2 is the test of knowledge. The love grows out of an appraisal of all the known characteristics of the other person. In other words, to love someone, you've got to know them. What are their values? Where do they come from? What matters to them? What are their priorities in life? Where are they headed? How do they treat other people? But infatuation may arise from an acquaintance with only a few or even just one of these characteristics. You can know almost nothing about someone and now you say, oh, I am in love. And they ask you, but wonderful, so what is her name? And you say, well, I don't know. I'm just in love. And you have all these chemicals coming out of your mind. And it doesn't mean it's bad, but it's just not love. Test number 3 is the test of focus. Love is other person centered. It is outgoing. It is a result of sharing. When you love someone, here is the shift. How do I help them? How do I encourage them? What do they need? What is going to make this relationship work? How do I create time and space and structure and resources and energy and finances to help this person? That is love. But when you are infatuated, you get very self-focused. And we call it the gaga moment. Gaga means the crazy, the wild, the strange or bizarre moment. And ladies go, man, he is so hot. He is so cool. He is so handsome. He is so strong. And I just feel these feelings all over. And I'm going to see him today. And what am I going to wear? And after 7 outfits, you're still not looking good enough for yourself. And then you come, is my hair okay? What do I say to him? And guys, you go like this. Why did I say that? She thinks I'm a nerd. Why do I say stupid things when I'm around her? Now where's the focus? Self, self, self. Me, me, me. Even in marriages, focus can be just on me, me, me. Instead of having that test of focus where you come and say, how do I help them? I want to grow this marriage. How do I encourage them? Test number 4 is the test of singularity. Now, genuine love is centered on only one person. An infatuated individual, in contrast, may be in love with 2 or more person simultaneously. So you meet someone and you like them, and you like the characteristics, and you like their appearance, and you know, you like things about them, and you think, wow, this is my future husband, this is my future wife. And now you go to the next office meeting, and there you meet someone new, and they are nice in a different way, and you like certain characteristics, you like their certain appearances, and you think, wow, this I love this person also. You know, I'm so in love with this person too, and this can also be my future husband and my future wife. See, when you get married, and then you have some kids, and there are some pressure, and you have some financial issues or health issues, and the triangle of God, you know, that is the agape love, which is here, agape love at the bottom of the triangle. Then you have the filial love, and then you have the eros love on this side of the triangle. And part of that isn't working too well. And you need to understand that just because you are married, infatuation doesn't stop. The chemicals in your brain don't go, oh, you're married, you know what, so we're not going to set ourselves off for you, you know. No, they don't do that. They are just chemicals. So there's attraction, and so pretty soon you're married. And remember, we're talking about the test of singularity, that there's only one person. So very soon, you know, you are married, and now the difficult times come. And now people don't look so pretty anymore. They're not so wonderful anymore. And some people might have gained a bit of weight, and you go to work and you know there's someone responsive. And there's a connection there. And you believe the Hollywood model we spoke about last week. So if you don't know what the Hollywood model is, go back to last week and listen to the teachings. Now you believe the Hollywood model. And now you think, oh, maybe I do have the wrong person. Maybe I am married to the wrong person. Now that perspective will destroy your marriage. It will destroy two families. At best, it will last 6 weeks to 18 months. And then you realize, you know what, I was the dumbest person. And what I needed to do was to understand the difference between love and infatuation. What does the Bible say you must do in situations like this? Well, Matthew 5:29-30 is very clear. It says, if your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away. It says it's better to lose one part of your body than your whole body to be thrown into hell. If your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off, throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to go into hell. You are on a collusion course to destroy your life. Be drastic in your measures to stop it. So married couples, you know, you have to base your relationship on agape love, because you are married to a fallen person, and your husband cannot come through for you all the time. And ladies, you know, and husbands, your wife cannot come through for you all the time. And some of you ladies, you know, you come and you think, oh, my husband, you know, all he ever thinks about is sex. Well, between a man and woman, we have different desires. But listen to this. The average man feels deeply loved. And I'm talking to married couples now. He feels deeply loved by physical intimacy or eros love. And some of you women think, what's with this? What doesn't he get? Because that's not how you experience love, necessarily in the deepest way. And so to be able to have agape love means you understand, this is how my husband is wired. He's not weird. He is not abnormal. This is how God created him. Now guys, I've got something to say to you. Your wife feels deeply loved, certainly, when you have intimate moments together. But the background of the feelings of love is much more around filial love, the friendship love. It's a long walk, talking about the kids, helping in the homework, you emptying the trash without being asked, asking, can I help you around the house? As you are thinking ahead, it's you being sensitive and caring and making her feel cherished. And I've got to tell you, when it's 9:30 and 10 o'clock and you go to bed and you think, you know what? My wife is not affectionate. She looks so beautiful. And you have all these ideas and you can't figure out why she's got a headache. Well, it's because you haven't cherished her. So agape love is giving another person what they need the most. Ladies, giving your husband eros love, and husband giving your wives filial love. It is giving them what they need the most when they deserve it the least at great personal cost, and that is agape love. So here is your assignment to all married couples. We all want our marriages to be better, more spark, more encouragement, more pizzazz, all right? So men, love your wife for the next 3 days with filial love, with friendship love. Just choose to do it. Don't fix anything. Just care. Just listen. Take initiative. Be available. And ladies, love your husband in the next 3 days with some eros love. And what you will experience is you being an instrument of God to love unconditional that makes sense to your spouse. And you know what? When one person in a relationship changes, it changes the relationship. For the singles, do not get emotionally closer and physically more involved than what you are truly committed to this person. And if God hasn't led you to say, yes, this is my wife, this is my husband, because you get emotionally involved, your brain quits, and any advice can mean what you want it to mean. So therefore, don't get emotionally closer or physically more involved than what you are truly committed to this person. So this week, go and apply these suggestions I have given you before we are going to continue next week, because we still need to continue from number 6 to number 12 into how to test whether you are infatuated or whether you are truly in love. There are more tests. So next week we're going to finish those tests. And next week I'm going to give even more practical advice for married couples, for husbands, for wives, for singles, if you're dating, to help you to know if you are in love and how to build this love. I trust this has blessed you, but for now, let us just pray together and just say with me, Father, forgive me where I have destroyed relationships and hurt others because of my emotions, obsessions, and selfish desires. Forgive me where I have been self-focused and where I have allowed my feelings and emotions to control me and to harm others. Thank you for the blood of Jesus that absorbs every hurt and that heals my heart to be whole again. Fill me with your love, that I can have the ability to love others the way you love me. Today I commit to give love the way you intend, agape love, by giving others what they need the most without expecting anything in return. Filial love, by building godly friendship with the people you have placed in my life. Eros love, by being physically passionate with my spouse only. Give me the wisdom to live out godly love as you intended and not infatuation. As I do relationships your way, thank you for bringing restoration and peace in every area of my life. May I always leave people better than I found them because of your love expressed in and through my love. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen and amen.